Right, so new video. This is sort of rebuilding a rod to be something else. I've been getting into lure fishing, saltwater lure fishing, trying to catch European sea bass. So my best mate, he moved to the Isle of Wight and he's been doing a bit of fishing whenever I go down and stay with him. Been going out, casting a few lures, and caught a few fish, been quite good fun. So I've been using this old rod and probably giving away my age a little bit here, but good few years ago now at the John Smith's Angling Festival, which is held up in Evesham in the Midlands. They have loads of tents, people selling stuff, tackle manufacturers, tackle outlets, that kind of stuff. I picked up this Daiwa spinning rod. I'm going to say it's like 2 meters, not sure really, but it was cheap as, and I've used it once, which was a little expedition pike fishing, didn't catch anything. Never used it since. It's well travelled, it's been around the world via the Netherlands twice, and yeah, decided to take it with me the last time, and my god, it's a crap rod. Very, very clear indicator of you get what you pay for. Probably the biggest problem with it is the quality of the rings and actually the number of the rings. Anyway, been thinking a bit about it. What can I do? Rebuild that rod. Actually thought it'd be nicer, be good to have a rod which is longer, just to punch out the lures that I've been using. So, been using lures like this actually. These have got bonnets over there to protect the hooks, actually to protect me from the hooks. I keep on catching myself in them. But these are the kind of things that we were using, so they're floating actually, and it's just great fishing when you're punching these out, bringing them across the top, letting them sink, letting them float. Also been using poppers. It's just great, but a good punchy rod with a bit of length is really going to be good for getting some distance. So a friend of mine that sort of buys and sells a bit of tackle, he was advertising this rod, and I bought it off him completely with the idea of I'm going to convert this into a European sea bass spinning rod. So it's a two-piece Drennan Specialist rod. So I'll put this back down here. And so Peter Drennan, UK manufacturer, just turn it around the right way, UK manufacturer, really good quality rods, and so this would be, I think, what we would call a like an Avon rod, yeah. So made kind of famous originally, I think, by Dick Walker. Is a cane rod and was always sort of around about having this test curve, which was sort of 1 1/4, 1.5 pound test curve. So this is a 2-foot rod. It's 12 feet. So touch and what's that, about 3.6 meters. 1 1/4 pound test curve. Got a reel guide or breaking strain reel line guidance of 3 to 7 pounds. I'm going to be using more than that. I'm going to use braid with it, but I think this is going to be a really good rod. There's actually nothing wrong with it. I've got a feeling that these rods originally came with two tip top sections, I should say, because I got a couple of Drennan rods which I use for like regular, what I would call regular fishing, and both of them they came. I bought them as a pair. And they've got two tips. One of them would be the Avon type rod, and the other one was with interchangeable tips for swim feeder, ledger style fishing, and I bought them for barbel fishing. This one, maybe that's why it was so cheap. It's only got the bottom. Anyway, I'm talking a lot, but my first thing is I'm going to get the handle to be upgraded, modernised to be the new style fittings. I've never broken down a rod before, so a Drennan rod before, I should say. So I don't know what to expect underneath the cork handle, and that's actually going to sort of determine what I do with the rod. I really like using cork handles. I guess is a case of personal preference. I would prefer a cork handle if I had to choose, but I'm not adverse to you know, the kind of EVA Duplon thing. I think it's got its place. So in the back of my mind, I think just more of a kind of experiment than anything else, I'd actually really like to sort of convert it into the more sort of modern style for like carp or whatever, where it's kind of piece here, usually then it's emptied out here, you know, just the blank, and then the piece at the bottom, so you kind of got the cast. That would be my goal. Might not be able to get there. This handle is really worn, and I've just cleaned it up. I always clean up my rod handles using that white sort of solid magic foam. Use it wet, just clean it down. It just transforms a cork handle real quickly. What it has done, I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to see, but you can see there is actually the filler and stuff in here, so it's shrunk, it's blah blah. There's a couple of pretty big nicks that have been taken out of it anyway. So I'm going to strip it down. The rings, I'm actually in two minds over it. I mean, because it's a two-piece, if I want to put just the handle here, this is a long rod. If I want to put the handle here, I've got to take off 3 eyes, 3 rings. Don't really matter, right? But I'll do it. Doesn't appear to be anything wrong with the rings. Do the test. This is a little piece of braid, and the sort of the trick, just to really get a feeling of what their eyes are like, you just thread it through like this, pull the ends taut, tight, and you can go around the ring and you'll feel if there's any nicks or problems with the liner. You'll just feel it. You'll feel like a step or a nick. You can do it with monofilament. Braid's just easier. I think you get better kind of feedback when you're doing this, right? I mean, you know, this butt ring, nothing wrong with it, but for a typical spinning rod, probably be a bigger diameter. And so, you know, if I'm going to do it like properly, I'd re-ring it just to maybe up the diameter, maybe just have a look and see what's available at the moment in regards to, you know, maybe there's some deals on decent high-end Fujis or Seimos or something. These, if they come off, I might actually then reuse them on that shitty old Daiwa spinner that I talked about. I actually think that 1 or 2 more rings just in it would actually transform the rod, and I'll have a look and see whether or not they can be kind of fitted in without rebuilding it, maybe turn it into something that you know, I could use as a backup, or somebody else could use. I'm very good at buying fishing gear. I'm not very good at selling it. Right, first thing I'm going to do actually is this cork. I'm gonna sand a load of it off to get the cork dust. Previous videos you've seen, I use this cork dust. This is all I got left, and so might as well recycle this, get some dust, just so I've got some for the future. So I'll do that off camera. I'm actually going to do it as a separate video, not as part of this series. So I'll do that, and then we'll cut back in and we'll start stripping the handle off and see where that ends up.